It's always important to remember that when we have a line reference, especially if they're asking why they're using a phrase or some sort of sentence or whatever, we need to read a sentence before and after, right? The plus one sentence rule gives us the context, and very often the line reference won't actually answer the question for us, but the one right before or after it will. Now, since it's the last sentence, there's no line reference after it, but we can absolutely read the one before. Starts here. As with any antibiotic, tixobactin now faces the long haul of clinical trials. Phase 1 to see what dose you can safely give the patient, Phase 2 to see if it cures infections, and Phase 3 to compare its efficacy to that of standard of care treatment. So the phrase long haul was important, and then everything that came after it was basically just like, oh, this is going to take a long time. There's a lot of steps that they need to go through. So it's reiterating that same idea. That's an important idea. That's going to take 5 years and 500 million pounds, and these are numbers we must find ways to reduce while not compromising safety if we're to keep ahead of bacteria, which can evolve far more swiftly and cheaply. So, okay, a lot of money, a lot of time. So that suggests long haul. Let's take a look. Emphasize the scale of the effort needed to make tixobactin available for consumer use. Well, yeah, that's the scale. It's a long haul. It's going to take a lot of time, going to take a lot of money. So, yeah, that seems to work. Let's make sure. Criticize the level of funding that the government has committed to tixobactin development. Well, it does say that they need to reduce the amount that it's going to cost, but it's not a criticism. I mean, I don't get a super negative vibe here. So that word is a little too strong for this situation. It's just not in the lines. I mean, yeah, the more money would be good, he's saying, but it's not directly attacking the government. Underscore the amount of time and money that have already been spent researching tixobactin. No, this is the future. This is what's coming up next, not what's already happened, right? Compare the amount of money spent developing tixobactin with the amount spent developing other antibiotics. Well, they're not talking about other antibiotics. If anything, they're saying it's actually the same process, the same long haul is ahead for this one. So that's just not true. They're not comparing them in that other way. So the word compare here is really important. I mentioned that in another question for this passage of we may not understand the exact science that's always going on here, but there are things like comparisons that our brain will understand. We know if they're comparing two things or not. We don't need to understand what exactly is being compared to know if a comparison is going on. So this, you can hopefully see that there's a theme here. A lot of wrong answers on the SAT are going to suggest that there's a comparison when there isn't one. And so that's a structural thing that you can see even when the actual text is difficult. But here I do think that the text is easy enough to understand that we could get A without having to do a lot of extra work, especially if we read that one sentence extra and get that phrase long haul, which just reiterates kind of what you get from the quote itself.